Looks like this stream was deleted on Facebook. Try creating. Oh, okay.
We're live.
Not yet.
Yeah, we are.
Here we are. Yes. Good afternoon, Crystal. How are you, ma'am?
Good afternoon. I am good. Crazy busy right now. This is my summer youth program. And so got 30 kids, and this is the first cohort, and got another one right behind this one. So that's
Ah,
my
yeah.
summer program.
Well, congratulations. Those are great things. Good for you. Good for you.
Yeah, yeah. So
I'm
good to see
wondering
you.
why
It's been a while.
what's that?
I say it's been a while. So how have you been?
I've been really well, really,
You're
really well. Done a lot of
good.
stuff I want to tell you about. Um,
Okay.
I know you're busy, so let's jump right in, and then we'll just kind of see what happens. How's that?
All
So
righty. Works for
ah,
me.
cool. So our topic today is 401k versus profit sharing versus defined benefit slash DB plan. Which one is appropriate for my business? Lots of people say, I can put more in this one, or do I have to do that one? So we're going to talk about that for a little bit. And before we do that, let me read your bio and then we can jump in. How's that?
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay. So, hello everyone. Please welcome my friend and colleague Crystal Mitchell to uh, Conversations on the Patio. Crystal is a business coach and consultant. She's the CEO of Mitchell Business Solutions. She's the co director of Recycling Black Dollars, a co host of The Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert, a weekly online radio show. She's an instructor at Mount San Antonio Community College, a certified network for teaching entrepreneurship instructor, and a QuickBooks Pro Advisor, financial strategist. Hey, Crystal, how you doing?
Hello, everyone. Good to see you guys.
All right. Okay, so let's jump right in. The reason I thought about this is we're getting towards the middle of the year, and folks are thinking if they didn't start it at the beginning, okay, maybe I should get into this whole retirement plan thing, but which one should I do? And there's several of them out there, but I thought I'd pick these three because it seems that these are the three that usually get people kind of confused.
Mm.
So the three that we have are a 401k plan, a profit sharing plan, and a defined benefit plan. And how do I know which one of those is correct? So
Mhm.
right off the gate, Crystal, you deal with people that have these issues sometimes.
Um, I have people that have issues in the sense that they're still working in corporate world
Uh-huh.
and they have 401ks or profit sharing. I don't know if too many of them have DB plans anymore.
Right.
And they're about to retire. And so now they're trying to see what that looks like
Mhm.
as they go on to create their businesses, which I call their second act. So that's when they have those problems and not quite sure what they're supposed to do. They start to about 5 years before they retire decide need more information, and unfortunately they don't necessarily get that information until maybe it's too late.
Right, right, right. It's a common issue, very common issue. So you said something really interesting in that you said they're beginning their second act, which is a great way to introduce the issue. So simply put, you can start a 401k plan as long as you have a business. So if you're already working, you can keep your current 401k plan and then start another 401k plan at the same time. Here's the
Mm.
deal: even though you have a second 401k plan, you cannot contribute double. That is the limit this year is $23,000. You can't contribute $23,000 to one plan and $23,000 to another 401k plan. You could split it if you want, right, and
Mm-hmm.
contribute 10 to one and 13 to the other. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and that's something that people do because perhaps they don't like the funds that they have in one plan, but they like the funds that they have in another. And they're getting a match at their company, right? And so they want to make sure they keep that match going, but they want
Mm-hmm.
invest in different funds in a new 401k plan. So you can do that. The thing you want to remember though is that you cannot go over that $30,000 limit, right? Or if you're over 50, you have that catch up limit on top of that, which is another $7,000. You can't go over that 23 plus $7,000 total.
Okay.
Right. So that's one. Okay. So then which one is going to be right for you? So we've got the 401k plan, we got the profit sharing plan, and some folks will say, all right, we're all in this second plan together. I just want to split the profits between the 4 owners and call it good. Okay. So that's a fine thing to do, and it can happen. However, you can put it this way. You can have multiple profit sharing plans. The IRS and the Department of Labor want you to make as much profit as possible. And if you do that in multiple organizations, so be it. That's a good thing, right? So you can set up as many of those. The Department of Labor or the IRS is not going to say some company cannot give you profit sharing. But here's the real kicker. Your profit sharing plan comes with your 401k plan. So it doesn't cost you any other money to have a profit sharing plan. You can have as many of those as you want. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Pretty cool, right? So let's say you made you made your contribution to you got your job and you made your contribution to your regular 401k plan, and you maxed that out. You attributed your $23,000, got your catch up for your additional $7,000. You got your $30,000 there, and then your second job does really well. Your second company does really well, and the 4 of you want to split up the profits, right? So now you set up another 401k plan, which includes the profit sharing plan, right? You cannot make a contribution because you've already fulfilled your 402g limit there. You've already hit that $30,000 limit, but you can have the profit sharing. So your company makes a contribution to that profit sharing plan that puts you and your 4 partners split up. And that's where you get the money from the profit sharing, right? You send an account, it's pre-tax, it's in the account. You get to choose the investments and all of that good stuff. And then you still keep your 401k over here with your job.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it works out pretty good. And that's the situation where, you're still working and you've got this little company on the side. Well, what happens if you're working for half the year and you decide to cut ties with that first company, and now you're going to start another company, right? And you're gonna go from there. You're gonna I stopped working for ABC company, and now I'm working for myself, Crystal Mitchell company. I'm working for Crystal Mitchell. I'm working for Crystal Mitchell. I want my 401k plan. Okay, cool. All right, so then we look at how much did you contribute to the first one. If you hit that $30,000 limit, then you can't make a contribution, even though you're starting your new 401k plan. But you can still start the plan, and since your profit sharing plan is a part of it, your company can contribute on your behalf to the profit sharing plan.
But not to the 401k.
But not to the 401k. And that's why those two are really kind of different, because I really don't like the idea of profit sharing, of calling it a profit sharing plan, because most employers look at, I'm not sharing my profits with nobody. I got this money. I want it. I don't want to share it. Okay. Then I'd rather call it an employer contribution. Right? So the employer makes a contribution to the employees in this one bucket.
Okay.
Profit sharing, aka employer contribution.
Is that still pretty common? I remember when I worked in corporate America, which was a long time ago. The last company I had, we had a 401k, but we also did profit sharing, but not it was directly given to us pretty much. Every quarter we got it. It looked like a commission, but it really truly was profit sharing. We got a percentage just for the basis of being working to make sure contracts that were coming in the door were secure and done set up properly. So we got percentages of that. But that went to the wayside after the insurance industry took a dive.
Oh, okay. All right.
Never to return again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is that still common?
Where I'm not sure.
There's actually traditional profit sharing companies. Companies are providing that.
Where they're
providing both the 401k and a profit sharing plan.
Oh, most definitely.
Okay.
Most definitely. Yes.
Okay.
We see that in a couple of different situations. Let's say you have a very small company, right? And it's just you and one other person, let's say. So, you can put your $30,000 in and as an employee, and then you've got your catch up. So you can put that in. It's about $7,000 this year. So I'm sorry, including that $7,000, so $30,000 total, right? So you make that, and then you say, you know what? I got some more money here. Can the company make a contribution on my behalf? Yes. So now we've got the $30,000 that I contributed as an employee, and my company gave me some extra money on my behalf as an employer / profit sharing plan. Boom, there you go. So that's how you can get that employee up to about $50,000 of assets going into the retirement plan. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So,
okay.
Yeah. And we want to say it that way. Okay, how much are the assets that can go into the retirement plan? All right. Well, if you're over the age of 50, then you can put in your 23,000 plus your $7,000 catch up, and the company can put in an extra additional $20,000, $23,000, let's say, to get you close to that 55. So your max is 55 this year, 55,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you as the employee, you can only put in the 23,000 plus the catch up if you're over 50, bring in your total employee contributions as 50, or I'm sorry, as $30,000. It's a distinction that I'm a pretty big stickler on, because lots of owners of businesses will say it's all my money, so it's all me contributing. But they run into problems because they'll put too much in one bucket and not enough in the other bucket. And the Department of Labor and IRS, they don't play. You have to have it in the right bucket, or you have to make some adjustments down the road that you don't want to. And and if you have employees and you put the money in the wrong bucket, things just get really bad with compliance coverage and all that kind of stuff. You don't want to get into it. Just don't do that. So make sure that you understand the buckets that you're putting the money in. And I know it's tough, but don't get caught up in that feeling of, it's all my money, so I'm having it all in, and put it all in the same place. And then if you have a smart company that you're working with, or a smart TPA, they may try to move some things around for you. And that's going to take a lot of time and give you a lot of headache. And it's not good. So the best thing to do is start out in the beginning of the year and say, okay, how much can I put away? And where am I going to put it? And then have someone walk you through what that looks like.
Okay. Wow.
Okay. Yeah. Just a little complicated. The thing is, we can get it done. We just have to do it the right way.
Which is why they certainly need to have someone, a retirement plan administrator, because the average human being wouldn't be able to do all that, right?
You're right. It's not complicated. It really isn't. It's just that we don't deal with it all the time, right? It's like so many things in our lives. They're not all that tough to do in so many situations. If you know what to do, they're not that tough to do. But if you don't deal with it all the time,
right,
then all the terms come in and all the right this and the right that comes in, and you get confused, and people start talking about, why are you talking to me in this jargon, when in actuality we're talking to you in the terms that you need to know so that you don't get confused, right? So that you don't mess up, and you make sure you got everything goes in the right bucket and you're clean. So
Mm.
you're good. You're good. Yeah.
Ah, okay, okay. All righty. Yeah, it's like I said, I have friends right now are getting close to that retirement place, and they're like, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah. Well, you tell them to give me a call.
I will.
Okay, so that's pretty cool. Now, this last subject that we want to talk about. So, first of all, just to review, you can only put up to the limit of your $23,000. You can only put that up to the limit of that as a employee, and you can spread it around, but you can't go more than that. Okay.
Mm.
But you can have multiple profit sharing plans to where you can put up to $50,000 in that profit sharing plan in each case, right? So you can put your company can put $50,000 in that you're an employee with. You can put $50,000 in as a person, and you can put another $1,000 in. Make
Okay.
sense? Right? So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
have as many profit sharing plan and as many profit sharing contributions as you want to, as you have businesses.
Oh, okay.
Where's the rub? Maybe that's what you're asking.
Ah, okay. Okay.
And the limit is not charged. There is no limit. No limit that you put. A company can give you as much money as they want.
Mm. Oh,
Or
okay.
you can collect as much money as you want. Right? They have that limit of 50.
Oh, okay. 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 Now the defined benefit plans, so that's still companies are still setting those up as well? Or is that
Yeah, I don't see them very often. We
okay?
usually see them when we have a very small organization, usually just the owners of the organization. So it could be a partnership or a spousal type situation, but just the owners or a very small organization. And we usually don't see them as money makers. They're more of a tax grab, actually. And the reason for
Oh, okay.
yeah, there's a couple of reasons for that. Number one, uh, the design of the defined benefit plan is very much like your pension, but the design, or like your pension used to be, but the design is that number one, it's a defined benefit. That is, the owner of that business is going to define the benefit that they're going to give the participant. The 401k / profit sharing plan is dramatically different. In that situation, the owner actually defines the contribution that's made on behalf of the employee in the profit sharing, and the employee defines the contribution they're going to make. But in the
Oh.
defined, yeah, and the defined benefit is different because the owner is defining the benefit that they're going to give to that employee once they retire. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I didn't know when I was in that industry that was a product that we did sell frequently. But again, it's been a minute since I've been in the industry, but I haven't heard that
Yeah.
term too much.
Yeah. We don't see it very often now, but then I started to see it when people started making more money as consultants, right? So
Mm.
they would say, okay, I need to set up a 401k plan. So they would set up a 401k plan so they could make their contribution. And they would say, well, we got a little bit extra money here. So, all right, how about the company makes a contribution as well? Because we got to reduce our tax liability. So the company makes a contribution. And they
Mm-hmm.
say,
Mm-hmm.
well, I need to save more for retirement. Okay, so you can set up a defined benefit plan. The kicker, though, is that in from the large point of view, the defined benefit plan is a plan that is a defined benefit. You're going to tell that employee at the end of your time working for us, we're going to give you X amount of dollars in perpetuity, right?
Mm.
So you're defining their benefit. Well, that can get kind of tough. Right? I mean, that's a big liability out there, which is why we don't see pension plans in the in the private sector very often, right? Because that's a huge liability. Number one, we don't know when people are going to have the good sense to die. I mean, they used to do that at 67 or 68, but now people are living until 90.
Oh,
So
or longer. I think I've read somebody just recently said their mother was 102 and she just celebrated her birthday in high heels, no less.
there you go. Good for her. Good for her. So can you imagine if she worked for a company that had a pension and they were
Right.
expecting her to die at 70? Here she is 102 and they're still paying 3/4 of her salary. That's a bit of a drain on the company's bottom line.
I
So
would say
companies,
so.
yeah, we're not going to do that anymore. So I don't see them in larger organizations. I usually see them in very small organizations. But,
Mm.
here's the deal. A couple things to keep in mind. Number one, it's an obligation, whereas the 401k plan, that's not an obligation. That's just something you're going to give someone. But the DB plan, that's an obligation. I'm going to pay you this even though you're not working for me. Number two, you can only put about $3.2 million away for each individual. They're designed that way, right? So you have
Mm.
a cap on the amount that you can have in that plan. Now, for most of us, 3.2 million is a lot is enough for us to retire upon quite nicely. For most of us.
Most of us.
Yeah, I don't know how you live, Crystal, but for most of us, right, 3.2 million per person, 3.2 million per person. So
Uh,
you want to, so many people want to stretch that out as much as possible. So it's very possible that you have a limit the amount that your defined benefit plan as an owner you can put into the defined benefit plan for your employees. So you got 3.2 million for each employee, right?
mm-hmm.
So that's something you got to think of. So when you have a third party administrator, I would say, or an actuary, figure out how much you're going to put in year to year. There's a little bit of an art to how we do that, based on what your future plans are, how much you have in the plan now, and how much you need to put in to get to that next milestone. So there's
Mm.
an art and there's a science to the defined benefit plan that we don't see in other places. And then you want to keep in mind that in general, that defined benefit plan, because of that obligation, is not really a money maker. So you don't want to get into the habit of saying, okay, I'm going to put X amount of dollars in my defined benefit plan and make it grow and grow and grow and grow, because we got a limit of 3.2 million. A, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
B, we don't want to go over or below that, right? And then B, we got to make sure that we got this thing set up so that into perpetuity, people are going to be able to get that amount of money, right? So if
Mm.
they worked for you until they were 65, they retired. Now they're 85, you're still paying those assets out, right?
And so that's creating obviously a concern for their younger population, right?
Well, it's creating a concern for the company, which is why
Yeah.
most companies aren't doing it, right? Or
Mm.
if they are doing it, there's just one or two people there, right? So they're not too worried about the company not being able to pay,
Mm-hmm.
right? So what happens generally, is, and I say this because I just did the opposite, but what happens generally is that, we set up a plan for the defined benefit plan to last 5, 6, 7 years, right? So we telescope out, okay, how much are we going to put in every year? It's going to be X, and we got to hit that nut because we don't want to underfund it and we don't want to overfund it, because that's not good, right? We got
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
for that. So we pretty much telescope out what that's going to be, and there's some other things we throw into the pot. How much do you need for retirement? What's the role of this thing? And then the artistry comes in with regard to, okay, where do I put the money? Do I put it in the 401k? Do I put it in the profit sharing? Do I put it in the DB? Where's the best place according to the rules of the road where I need to put the money, understanding that we're not trying to grow the assets in that defined benefit plan. In general, we're We're just trying to put money away so we don't have to pay taxes on it.
Okay.
Savings vehicle.
So okay, now it's retirement time. So I have my 401k, I have my profit sharing, and now I have my DB plan.
Yeah.
So there now I need a distribution so that I can live, right? I'm going to get my retirement monthly income.
Sure.
So is that now everything taxable because now it's coming into circulation where Uncle Sam can get his money, right? Especially if it was before tax, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. So depending on how you set up your 401k plan, you could do that Roth or general, regular, right? Traditional is what we say.
Mm-hmm.
And all the money that you put in the traditional part, when you take that out, that's going to be taxed. All the money that you put in as the Roth, when you take that out, that will not be taxed. So you've got that right there.
Okay.
Profit sharing, except for just this year, I believe, in the Secure 2.0 Act, that made the profit sharing so that you could make that Roth or not. Well, the company could, right? So the company made that, can make that decision. I don't know anybody that's done that because we haven't figured out how to make that work. The company giving you regular money and who's going to pay the taxes on that. In general, if I'm giving you money, I don't want to pay taxes on it. That's the rub there. So
right.
we can talk about it later, but that's in general the thinking now is that if the company gives you money, they don't want to pay taxes on it. It's one of the reasons why they're giving you money in the retirement plan, so they don't have to pay taxes, right? Okay. Now, and the same with Roth contributions. Same with Roth contributions. So even though it might be legal, we haven't figured out how to do it. When we get down to the defined benefit plan, those are always pre-tax, always pre-tax. So when that money comes out, you're going to be taxed on it.
Okay.
So in general, unless you as an employee decide you're going to put money in as a contribution as a Roth from the employee standpoint, unless you do that, you're going to be taxed on the money. So you can pretty much set yourself up for now and the foreseeable future. If the company gives you money or makes money on behalf, or makes money, if the company contributes money to a plan on your behalf, here for the next foreseeable future, I'm going to say probably for the next couple of years, it will be money that you will be taxed on once you take it out. But
Okay.
I would say in defense of that, you didn't pay taxes on it when it went in, right? You're only paying taxes on it when it comes out. So it won't feel like a benefit when you're taking the money out, but it is.
Yeah, that right there.
But it truly was a benefit when you were putting that money in.
Now on the other side,
Right,
so now that's a whole nother strategy depending on how much money that is being drawn down on it each month, right?
Exactly. That's why most tax advisors, some of them are going a little bit different, but most tax advisors say it's beneficial to have pre-tax and after-tax money so that you can moderate your tax liability. I think now that the Roth is here to stay, at least we think it is here to stay, Roth contributions, things can happen. Lots of advisors are saying if you can afford it, do the Roth, right? If you can afford to pay the taxes, but it's like, all right, I'm going to contribute $100. It's going to cost me $100. Where if we do it pre-tax, maybe if I contribute $100, maybe it'll only cost me $75. All right,
nice.
we can make that kind of deal because we're doing it pre-tax.
So you're just delaying the joy.
Yes, joy. Good word, that.
What is it? Defer the joy.
Defer the joy. There you go. Defer the joy. Yes, that's what we're doing. Deferring the joy, as we call it. Okay, so let's just have a quick review because I know you got to go.
Okay.
Which one's good best for my company? Remember I said company, not necessarily me, but my company. Okay.
Right.
You can have as many 401k plans as you have companies.
Mm-hmm.
The limit of contribution as an employee across all of those companies is going to be that for this year, 23,000. And if you happen to be over 57,000 one time, right? So you can split that 23/$30,000 up over all 4 companies that you own, or you can put it in 2 companies, or you can put it in 1 company, right? Make sense?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then a profit sharing plan comes with each one of those 401k plans. It's kind of like an automatic thing. Make sense?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you can start up the 401k plan, you get the profit sharing plan almost for free. It doesn't even cost. Okay. How much can you put into the profit sharing plan? Well, notice that a profit sharing plan is an employer contribution. So the 401k is an employee contribution. We're only going to allow employees to put away 30K for the year. That's it. You can't put any more. The employer can put away as they can get you up to another 25,000, another $20,000, gets you up to 55,000. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You have as many employer contributions. They can only put in each employer as up to $25,000. So if you had 4 different companies, you're pretty industrious. But let's say you had one company you worked at and you owned 4 more.
Okay.
I don't know. You're a florist and a janitor and a kite maker and a
All them people, huh?
whatever. Right? So you can have as many profit sharing plans as you want, right? You can have all 4 of them if you want.
Okay.
All 4 of them can contribute to you as the employee, um, and they can put in a full $50,000 because the way that math works, and I didn't tell you this, but the way that math works is between the employer and the employee, the max is about 55,000. Okay, so if the employee puts in 30, the employer can fill the balance. Okay, so that means that the other 4 companies that you own outside of the company that you're working at, the other 4, they can put in that whole 50K, each one of them. Okay, which is kind of nice, right? Got to own 4 companies, but oh well, so be it. Now, okay, so that's one way to go. The defined benefit plan is a little bit different because whereas in the 401k/profit sharing world, you're just defining what the employee and the employer are going to contribute. That's it, right? And the goal of that is to make as much money as possible. We want to grow those assets. Okay.
Okay.
Benefit plan is different because in that plan, the employer is defining the benefit of the employee once they retire.
Okay.
I'm going to set up this plan that gives you X amount of dollars, i.e., like a pension, for the rest of your life. Right? Okay, so in that situation, there's a limit that the plan is able to contribute per employee, and that's 3.2 million. And so nowadays, we still sell defined benefit plans, but generally to small organizations. But in lots of situations, they're more of a tax write-off.
Okay.
Right? Because we don't want to grow them, because if we grow them, then we won't be able to make our contribution. Right? We want to make the contribution to reduce our tax liability. Does that make sense? It's kind of like a tax grad.
Right.
So that's that. So which one's better for my company? For most of us, we set up a company so that we can grow the assets and we can pay rent and we can feed our kids and do whatever it is we need to do. We make money, right?
Okay.
So for most people, the 401k plan is a better option for most people. However, I am selling defined benefit plan and defined contribution combinations to lots of smaller companies where there's primarily just the owners or an army of one, like one person. I'm selling those because people need to A, put away more money, and B, need that tax write-off.
Okay.
Makes sense?
So, makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah, that's kind of how that works.
Okay.
All righty. So that's all I have. And I know we're getting close to the end of the hour. So I'm going to say, hey, Crystal, do you want to give the last word? And then I'll shut it down.
Well, as usual, yeah,
Sure.
I think because of, especially because the tax, the tax could be a liability on the backside of it. Really understanding exactly what it looks like when it does come time for that retirement, because there's so many other things that go with that retirement. Once you retire, you may live to be 102, but you may have some health issues in that process, right? So you really
Yes.
want to look at it on a bigger scale, and you really want to ask very clear questions so you are completely understanding what it looks like on the pre and post.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially on the tax side. So if you're an older person on a fixed income, you certainly want to make sure you understand all the implications so that you don't have a large tax bill, because the whole idea is to minimize your outgo because
Yeah.
your inflow has been
Yeah.
reduced.
Exactly. Exactly. I couldn't have said it better myself. You're spot on. And so, like you always remind me that I always say you should have a plan, right? And
Yeah.
so the pulling the money out is a planned thing that you want to start doing because, um, unfortunately, we know the only thing constant with regard to retirement plans and so many things in our lives is change is change. So
Yeah.
things are going to change, but we have to do
Exactly.
we got to make our plan and then act accordingly. But you are spot on. Got to ask all
Yeah.
the questions and make the plan.
Exactly.
All right.
All
Well, that's
righty.
the show for today. Always a pleasure, ma'am. Thank you for joining me. And thank you
Okay.
all for joining us as well at Conversations on the Patio. And we'll see you next time.
All righty. Bye bye, everyone.